Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 282. I am Erik Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky.
Hey, that's me.
How are you?
Good. I was finally able to afford and beer.
Well, I'm happy to see that. And
they are old style.
I know.
Which is like the same price point as Hams.
When you came in, you're like, I have another flavor of inexpensive beer. I'm like, okay.
I
I'm curious what
have
this
another
is.
flavor of subprime beer.
There you
and
go.
that is what it's called. It's called subprime. But really, in old style, I would actually, this is on par with Hams with being punching far above its weight.
Okay.
They're both kind of from the Wisconsin, Chicago area, which like seems to be a haven for cheap beer.
Especially anywhere near Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly. It's a haven for cheap beers. But yeah, so old style, it's really good. The only reason it's not my favorite beer is because Hams is literally $13 for a 30-pack. But
you have to convert for like fluid ounces with this because this is a tall boy.
So even this is still 60 cents more expensive than the Hams tall boys that were next to it.
Oh, I've never seen a Ham's tall boy.
Oh, the Total Wine has them.
Ooh.
No.
Well, it's going to be my summer beer then.
There you go, Hams tall boys. Yeah, but yeah, let's crack them open. They're great. I love them.
It's been a while.
I like the toil design on the can, which is a toil of beer making.
I should know what a toil is as an art
Toil
major,
is
but I
a,
don't.
you know those wallpapers that have like little like small drawings on
Yeah.
them and they tell a little story?
Yeah.
That's called a toil.
Huh.
And this is a toil of beer making on the can.
That is a lot better than Coors Light.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really, really good. It tastes better when it's like above 70 degrees.
Oh, I like that actually.
Yeah.
A lot of triples are like that too.
Like if it is above 70 degrees outside, I genuinely think that there's a chemical difference, like with how this beer tastes when it's hot outside. Like,
Is it cold activated mountains?
must be. God, what a good beer.
I do
It's so
like old
good.
style. When you pulled this and set it on the table, I was visibly excited.
I
I'm
saw
sure.
that. Yes,
I
it is a
really
great
like
beer.
Old style.
It's so good. And it also says pure and genuine, which
That's good. You know,
means
this
it-
was knockoff old style.
means it
I don't
has to
know.
be true. But I like if you actually look at the toil on the can. So if you look on the left, you have like medieval like
Like
farmers,
monks
and you have monks, and you have monks making beer, and then you have a small little German town, and then you have more beer. And you have little carts full of beer, and then a man farming while drinking a beer, and
see that.
some men sitting at a table drinking beer. This is a good time beer.
Old style. I love the logo too.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes me think I'm in a small town in Germany.
Even like how they printed it. It's
I know.
like it looks like it was printed in the 70s. Like,
This can was one of those cans you find in the woods that's been
Yeah.
sitting here for 30 years, but
That's-
then they resealed it.
Yep, no, this is just brand new. Such a good beer. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you for getting them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before we get into topics, briefly want to touch on Patreon. We do have shirts here, actually, for all the patrons, so let us know if you want that. Come on down, even if you want to be on the show. But anyway, patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this super cool website, you're going to find 3 open-ended levels of support, starting at just $1 a month to help us pay hosting costs and to have fun with the show. Patreon.com/Carbitrage. All right, you have the first one today.
Why don't we have any green lines in OBS next to our name?
Because
just
I only
white.
use one input.
Oh, okay.
It all comes through.
Okay,
the
I just
mixer.
wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
I wasn't going crazy.
No, you're not.
So Toyota's gonna be all right. Just moving into the first topic.
No, that's totally fine. Oh, I think I have to open.
Because Koji Sato, the person that took over for Akio Toyota.
Yeah, I do remember we were
Or
a bit
Akio Toyota.
concerned about this last
Yes,
time.
because you know he's made some questionable decisions in the past.
Yeah.
His goal is to revive the Celica. That has been, quote, his life's dream.
That's good news because we last saw a Celica in 05 or 06?
Yeah, when Scion took over, and then actually the Scion TC, the TC
Right.
stood for Toyota Celica.
Oh.
That's actually how they changed it. So we've had a Celica like equivalent. It's just been under Scion.
So is this new proposed Celica going to be front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive?
Probably front,
Okay.
because they already have rear-wheel drive sports cars.
True.
And like it wouldn't make sense to make a Celica, which is a 2+2 rear-wheel drive sports car when the BRZ FT86 thing exists.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
So it's so well received too.
But that being said, let's not sleep on a front-wheel drive sports car.
No, they can be very good.
But front-wheel drive sports cars were something that we took for granted as children because we wanted rear-wheel drive, and everybody made a sports car.
Mm-hmm.
But now that looking back on it, like the Acura Integra obviously was like the poster child of great front-wheel drive sports cars, but like the front-wheel drive Celicas were not bad.
No, I mean, I've had a lot of fun in front-wheel drive cars. My problem, and I'm sure Toyota is capable of engineering around this, but like I really prefer when they're very low horsepower front-wheel drive cars. You don't really notice the front suspension on like a cheaper one not being able to cope very well with the power.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, I think it will be plausible that you could see an all-wheel drive variant because now all-wheel drive is very, the only people that aren't doing all-wheel drive everything is Honda. Like everybody else is doing all-wheel drive.
That's because Honda can't do anything right.
Honda is, they've been hot garbage for every new design since Soichiro Honda died.
Yeah.
Every fresh design that Honda has had, they've not been able to get right. Because, like, you go, wow, wait a minute, Soichiro Honda died in, like, 1991. And the EK Civic was great. The EM1 was great, right?
Right, but those were probably in development.
And those were based off of the EF. And then you're like, well, okay, how about the DC2 Integra Type R, the greatest front-wheel drive car of all time, which was also based off the DA.
I was going to say, those are still like the Tinker Toy era.
Exactly. But, like, let's see. The new cars that came out after Soichiro Honda died is you had the RSX, which blew. You had the EP3 SI, which similarly blew ass.
The only good thing about the EP3 is the hard point engine accessory donor stuff.
Yes,
all the K-swaps.
That's exactly it. Yes, they did get the K-series correct. That's true. But a broken clock's correct twice a day.
Right.
So that's the thing is I don't really, the fact that they made the K-series, they made a great engine does not mean that they are still a great company.
Right.
And it's not to say that like I dislike Honda. Like Honda's a very big part of my life. I still love them a lot. It's just that with me, it's similar to if I were to be alive in the 70s and I said my favorite car is an Oldsmobile. Yeah, a 50s Rocket 88 would be my favorite car. I do not want a Delta 88. There's a lot of things I want in life, and none of them are a Delta 88.
It's awkward being that brand enthusiast.
Yeah.
That is aging out of that brand's heyday.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the
you're
same
going
thing
through that with
BMW.
With BMW, yeah. But like with Honda, like it really got bad because Honda was still Honda. Like, so the fit was good. Like, I want another fit. But that being said, is like it's back to my broken clock metaphor. Like,
right.
It's
think of how much garbage they made just
like,
to get the
they
fit
made
out the door.
a fit, but like they also recently discontinued it, mind you, and also that fit was made in 2003.
Right.
And so the one good fit was made in 2003, and then they just kind of based it all off of that one car. But like if you look at the vast majority of Honda designs, like these days, they aren't what they used to be. And it's like I still appreciate people that like Hondas. Hondas are still great cars, but it's just such a fall from grace.
Well, they just have to focus more of their energy now on rockers and B-pillars and seatbelts.
In keeping things together, yeah.
Correct.
These are all problems that they did not have in the 80s and 90s. But so Toyota, I mean, this is the thing is with Akio Toyoda, he really helped Toyota, put Toyota on the right path, getting them back to being able to make a fun car. Because back when the Toyota was like actually making great vehicles in the 80s, they had, I think it was called a 94-point system, where you had like every sort of way that a vehicle is measured, from performance to daily usability, on a score of 1 to 100, it had to get like 94 out of 100 for every test.
Oh, that sounds like Volkswagen Phaeton style engineering.
Well, no, I mean like 94 out of 100 from every test means like, okay, this Corolla needs to be sporty enough to get 94 out of 100 from Car and Driver. It also needs to have the fuel economy to get 94 out of 100 also has to be livable for 94 out of 100. It has to have like 94 out of 100 durability. So like in every
at a
way.
price point that still is in line with the Celica
Exactly.
nameplate too.
Exactly. And so back in the 80s when Toyota was doing that system, that's how they were making everything great. And that's why Akio Toyoda, when he took the helm, he had all the engineers drive his personal E70 Corolla to put Toyota back on that correct path. And I think now that he has righted the ship of Toyota, passing the baton over to Koji Sato is a really good move. Also, Koji Sato, while still being a middle-aged man, is very young for the position because
What is his age?
I think he's like in his 40s.
Okay. So he grew up with like the 80s and 90s?
Yeah, he's like a Gen Xer, but
Okay.
like the thing is there were multiple older Gen Xers and boomers that wanted that position that should have received that position under normal Japanese tenure, where it's just you age into being a CEO.
Okay.
But Akio Toyoda just bypassed all of that, and that was the big problem.
Because he had a better idea?
Yeah, because Koji Sato was clearly a better fit, and he's like not going to pass it on to some bean counter from accounting.
Good, because Toyota is in this massive resurgence.
Exactly, and he wants to keep that going, and that's why he wanted to pass this baton when he still could, and he would still have the say to do it in the respect of everybody to do that. So it's really cool he did that, and it seems that he made the right decision because, a new Celica sounds 10 out of 10.
Especially if they make a GR variant with that 3-cylinder.
Exactly. Like
Which
even
they probably
if
will.
they just make a front wheel drive one, like that's still
Well, yeah.
a sports car is a sports car. I don't care.
The powertrain on the Corolla hatch is great, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, like all of them are going to be fine. This is a great thing. I'm very happy for it. So
I do like that this is on the path to keeping the momentum going, even if it involves a little bit of nepotism on Toyota's side with the how they got there.
Yeah, no, it was nepotism, and now he's actually passing the torch to somebody that actually matters. So he's actually breaking that mold, which is kind of cool. So I like that.
Fair enough. All right, I want to talk about the LC. Well, we'll call it the Supra, the LC 500.
Yes, the real Supra. Yeah.
Main reason I pulled this topic isn't really anything to do with the LC 500, but I recently had to deal with.
Mind you, I also have called this on multiple. Every time I have a chance to say it, this is a perfect car.
Yeah, no, you do. You say that absolutely every time.
As close to a perfect vehicle as one can get.
At Cars and Crafts, there was a hardtop one leaving,
And I called it a Supra.
and the guy's like, "Thank you."
Yeah, I'm like, no, that's an actual Supra. Because Supras are BMWs.
Correct.
Yes. Anyway.
I just want to talk about their infotainment system. So starting in roughly 2013, Lexus, and they've never had an industry-leading system. But
Not true. Not true. Not true. The first generation LS400, when it was called the Celisaur in Japan,
Celsior, yeah.
that actually had a nav system that holds up with mid-2000s BMWs.
It's true.
I've showed you what it looks like. It's incredibly like high definition.
Yes, you're right. So they
It's
had
very intuitive
by
to use.
far the best early, and that came out like 91 or 92. That
89.
nav system. No, the car.
Oh,
the nav
car-
option came
the nav,
later.
yeah, it was like 91, yeah.
But yeah, no, it was TFT, and it was CD based, just like the 3-year later BMW system that never improved. So yes, but I'm not going to call that an infotainment system. I'm going to call that a nav system, just for the sake of semantics. But
It can.
it's fine. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But Lexus, starting in the mid-2010s, came out with a new version of an infotainment system, and it relied heavily on a trackpad sitting on the top of like a button.
That's
to
what you
navigate
need.
all of the menus. So it's basically
Why
iDrive.
don't you just have buttons?
Exactly. And
Nobody had a problem with buttons.
correct. And then eventually they started making that trackpad into a clickable trackpad so you could use it as buttons. And then they turned it into a directional toggle, but they left the trackpad. However,
It should be buttons.
the 2024 LC is the first product bringing them out of the trackpad era. And I
Good.
do want to say, I recently had to deal with my boss's wife's 2023 NX350, and it has the touchpad control. I accidentally changed menus in that nav system just by having my arm on the armrest and the corner of the back of my arm brushing against it. So this is a welcome change, and I'm glad that their best product in the Lexus brand is spearheading it, because this will trickle down to all the other ones. But
That's
holy crap,
fantastic that
that
they're
system
changing.
was aggravating to no end. great vehicle, but like, oh my god, please and thank you. This is like that pop-up nav system that was in the Aston Martins and Volvos in the early 2000s. It was
Oh god,
really
it would rise
bad.
out of this. So navigation
stock.
systems that rise out of the dashboard,
Yeah.
that is based, and that is the correct way to do a navigation
It
system.
is, because when it's obsolete, you leave it hidden.
Exactly. Or if you're not using it, you don't have a bright screen to like totally blinding you from the rest of the road.
Yep.
However, yeah, that was not well implemented in Aston Martin's point. However, yeah, no, I'm really happy about this. This is good. This was the only liability that this car had. Otherwise,
Okay, on the transmission, but
I mean, it's 2023, dude. I can't be mad at every car that has an automatic.
Don't worry, I'll do that for you.
I lost that fight.
I will do that for you.
I absolutely lost that battle. I lost that war. I give up. I'm not gonna win it.
That's why I'm here. Don't worry.
I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my Luxo barges. And God, you can get with a blue interior.
Your
That looks
PLC.
that looks really tits with a blue interior. Did you scroll down and see the blue interior? It looks really good. I really like this car a lot.
I have to go really slow with this trackpad, as you know, because it's a piece of junk.
This
Hey,
is,
another hatred thing on trackpads. They suck.
God, I love these cars so much. I'm sorry, I need to move on to the next topic because I will look at an LC 500 for the rest of the day. That is like my modern day finisher car.
It takes a lot of those. Oh, there's the blue interior. It takes a lot of those 80s personal luxury coupe vibes
Yeah,
and brings them.
it
back.
really like it takes like what the Toyota Soarer was and just makes it like perfect. It is a cross between a Supra and a Soarer. Yeah. Anyway, Estonia has figured out how to correctly do autonomous delivery and autonomous vehicles correctly.
And it's adorable. Holy crap.
And holy shit, the Cleavon one is really cute.
Is that what it's called?
It's called the Cleavon. It's Estonian. I can't do so much about the name. But so it's an autonomous delivery vehicle. It's cute as hell. It's small. It's electric, and it most importantly doesn't kill any jobs.
Wow.
They are remotely driven.
Oh, okay.
You have to have a CDL to drive them,
Okay.
and then they're just remotely driven.
What? Okay. So what does that save? What does that save for the company if they still have to pay a driver?
Well, they don't have to pay for as much insurance because they don't have a human in the vehicle.
Okay.
They don't have to have a big
Adds up.
truck. They don't have to pay him to
Okay.
lift things up
No
because
air conditioning.
the
Okay.
customer has to
Adds
get the
up.
car out of it. Has to get the package out of it.
What's to stop me from taking every other person?
Because they lock.
Oh.
So you have different compartments.
Okay, so it's like one of those Amazon
yeah,
drop.
yeah, and then you have to go and grab your little thing out of it. It's very cute.
What if you're not home?
It's for businesses,
Hmm.
really. Yeah. So, also in like Estonia, it's like you can like have something delivered to your work. What this is for is for that last mile delivery,
Which is
so
a
like
big deal,
the
yeah.
equivalent of an Amazon van.
Sure.
Yeah. So, this is what's really cool about these. These weigh 320 kilograms when they're empty. They weigh
really light.
nothing. So even if they do hit somebody, they're not going to hurt them. But they're not going to wear out the road.
It's true. Gotta be
the-
easy on
It,
tires.
the only liability I can think of with this is the fact that, back in like the 2000s, drunk British people in Amsterdam would pick up smart cars and dunk them in the river.
I sure do.
I feel like an enterprising thief could just nick the whole truck.
Yeah, if it's only 800 pounds.
Yeah, just nick the whole truck, dunk the front in water so everything's broken, and then just take everything out of it. Done. That's the only liability to this vehicle.
I think it's going to be pretty obvious when they find that guy and he's put a steering column into one of these and he's driving it to work.
He's like sitting on top of it, and he's like got his little hands inside the windshield.
Where have you found that? Well, I built it. Give it back,
So
mate.
they have a 50 kilometer per hour top speed. So they're also like literally just made for inner city delivery. And they have a 42 kilowatt hour battery with an 80 kilometer range.
That's a really impressively large battery for how little that thing weighs.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually really cool. And then the 80 kilometer range is, for the size, exactly how long you need to go. Because what it's going to do is, this would be for if you have like a small delivery hub for a neighborhood, and you just drop things off at your
I'm
businesses.
surprised the range isn't better than that because it's all city and 42 kilowatt hours with this kind of weight. You should be doing 160 plus
I
miles.
imagine they probably have it made the way it is so it's not terribly expensive, so you can actually get it for fleet sales.
Gotcha.
And also for ease of maintenance and reliability.
Oh, man,
Kinda
this is
like-
super cute though.
Yeah, kind of like how I can on 2JZ can can make 700 horsepower.
Okay.
But they choose to make 300.
I gotcha. So
it's like that.
They're limiting it. Just
I
to
think
make
they're
it
limiting
last.
it so you don't like fry the batteries and you don't. Yeah. But it's so
So it'll
cute.
last forever. I know. And this little white one I scrolled down to.
And
Look at him.
It's so yeah, they're made to order. What they are is they're basically just a skateboard with a windshield. I love the useless windshield. It doesn't need to be there.
Right? I was just thinking, like,
There's no point for that windshield. It's so cute. It's just there to make it better. But yeah, basically what you get a skateboard with a windshield and a little frame and some headlights and brake lights and wheels and brakes and a camera.
and brakes.
Yes.
I see.
But yeah, they make them to order, and you can like customize everything. So like if you are delivering food, you can have a refrigerated or a heated truck. So like if it's like a bread van and you're delivering
groceries or something.
yeah, like if it's like a bread van and you work at a bread baker, a bakery.
A bakery.
That's the word.
You work at a bread factory.
I'm sorry. When I originally read about this, I read about it on Deutsche Welle, and I had to read it in German. So I'm like, in my head, I had to say like, yeah, bread maker, Brot. So anyway, that's why it is the way it is. But anyway, if you're like a bakery, you can get a heated container.
Oh man!
So if you're bakery
good.
making like artisanal bread for like your local deli,
yeah,
you just put it in the heated truck, and then they drive it to the deli. It's hot and fresh for the deli. Brilliant. Or you can get an air conditioned one.
Now I'm understanding why they leave so much battery on the table.
Exactly, because there's so many different things you can use.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a really cool truck, and yeah, I absolutely love it. Like this thing's like perfect. Why don't we have this? Actually, sorry, no, we do have this. They've delivered 2 trucks to the United States for last mile deliveries.
Who owns them?
Somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Huh.
But they are coming to the United States.
So how long until we can buy one of these as a pleb and then put a steering column in it and use it as daily?
I have no idea, and I want to be now because this is a perfect vehicle. This is
put a little pickup truck
this
head on the
answers
back there.
my.
Your problem?
This is what I need. Like my problem with my car is I hate driving to Target. I can just order something online at Target, drive this to the order pickup
from your computer.
from my computer, and just be like, yeah, put it in the boot. They put it in the back, and I drive off. Brilliant.
I wish you the best of luck getting your CDL.
I'm so excited. Well, no, it's only CDL if it is for commercial delivery. Because that is for Estonian insurance purposes for their businesses. So really, I guess you could privately own one without a problem. They'll just make you one. But
hopefully the driving software package is open source.
I imagine you could also probably just put a cabin in there and have a laptop and like a PS2 controller.
I now really want to be able to hook one of these up to my sim rig and use it to like drive to a store.
And just put the sim rig in the vehicle. You don't even need a steering column.
Dude, I would get so motion sick.
It'd be great.
I need some windows.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could make it with just windows. You could make it so it's just a seat and a sim rig. It doesn't even need to be a sim rig. You just make an Oculus Rift and a seat on top of the skateboard, and then you can have a perfect vehicle. It's got a little windshield for you and everything.
Oh,
That's why the windshield's there.
Oh my God.
It's for private sales.
They're just thinking ahead.
Yeah, they are.
For when that thing is... Yeah,
I love this.
That's true. That's for when the fleets have to get rid of them someday.
Yeah, the Cleavon 1 is like 100 out of 10. This is a perfect vehicle.
And you know the battery's going to be in perfect condition.
Yeah, because they just like...
They locked off
sandbagged,
90%.
Yeah, they sandbagged it so hard. Like, it's just going to last forever.
42 kilowatt hours, 5 available. But so you're allowed to go from 48% to 62%?
Yep.
Correct.
To be, also, that 42 kilowatt hours, I imagine the 80-kilometer range is like 80 kilometers inside a Latvian city center during winter.
Yeah, worst possible case.
Worst possible condition, you get 80 kilometers. I'm sure
With
in
some
summer...
very sensitive baguettes in the back.
Yeah, I'm sure in summer you probably get like 200 out of it. I also like the idea of seeing one of these dual long-range deliveries. See this little guy just like scooting down the side road in like rural Estonia, delivering like milk.
You know, some of the people hired to drive those things are going to be enthusiasts.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to see one just hustling through some
If I
back roads.
ever have to move to Estonia, I'm getting a CDL so I can drive this. This is great. Like,
Ryan, what do you do for work now that you moved here? Funny you should ask.
I'm a CDL driver.
Right this way.
I drive a Cleavon 1. It's small, cute, and electric. This is great.
This this den full of like Oh no, I'm not even gonna go there.
Yeah, no,
I picture it just like the music video.
Exactly. It's gonna be just like the Donnie Benet Konnichiwa music video. It's gonna be me, yeah, just like that. But like, it's just a perfect vehicle. I absolutely love it, and I also especially really enjoy that electric vehicles, instead of going like edgy and like angry headlights like on Jeeps and like gas cars, they're cute and fun and approachable. Like that's good. I want
like all their
that.
faces.
Give me a cute, fun, approachable car. Like I don't want angry headlight Jeep. I don't want like a Dodge Challenger. Like
yeah, that's a good point. I love electric vehicles because they don't have to poop.
yeah, like I like a happy little car. Like that's why I like my Fiat. That's why I bought it. It's a happy little car.
And it's just a stylish little thing. It's fun. It's spunky.
Yeah.
It has personality.
Yeah, no, it's not 2003 anymore. Everything doesn't need to be angry. Anyway,
Speaking of 2003 and angry,
yes,
I have been looking at TVRs with Scott for some time. So
funny enough, is Darren almost bought one with his.
What did he almost buy?
He almost bought a TVR with his Honda Beat money.
Was that like a Cerbero or something?
No, it was a TVR Griffith. Is that one of the 90s ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they only had a couple models in the early 90s. And
yeah, it was one of the 90s era models, and he was thinking about buying that, and then he found like the world's stinkiest Mustang. And he's like, this Mustang's perfect because it looks like it just like came out of a field, but the guy like went through it and did like, it's a perfect spec like Mustang.
Yeah.
It's a 289 4-speed limited
What
slip
year?
rear end, like a 68.
Oh, okay. So one of the first
like
gen Mustangs.
like an OG Mustang. Like the guy went through all of the brake system, like went through the whole.
Oh, so
fuel
it's
system.
actually good.
Like no, literally every single the entire electrical system was like either like everything that needed to be done to the electrical system has been taken care of.
That's great. That's like a resto mod that nobody modded.
Yeah. No, it is a totally refurbished perfect car, and it's like all
I
the
like that
correct
you
mods.
use the refurbished
Yeah.
word there because you have to for.
Yeah, and that's just how I think now.
Right.
But it's like a totally refurbished perfect car.
So great.
And like this is like I would take a refurbished car like this over a restored car that costs like 10 times as
100%.
much because somebody decided to
And
paint
it's
it.
just stinky enough where you can use it every day guilt free.
Yeah, and he's like, it won't get stolen because it looks like shit. It
Right.
looks like you're not going to go anywhere, and it's great. So what he
Meanwhile, bumps
Yeah.
the key, immediately wet idling.
exactly yeah. So his friend isn't quite done enjoying it, so he bought a
Tremendous.
Alfa Romeo GTV
Oh God, what a brave soul.
in similar condition.
Oh, okay, so it's been
But
looked
it-
over by like.
and immediately started doing Spica fuel injection stuff as soon as it got
Oh,
to his driveway.
Spica, God.
And so Darren's like, I'm really happy I'm not owning this car for a long time, and I'm very happy that my friend wants to enjoy this ownership because I could not long-term own this vehicle. And this is coming from a person that owns a Peugeot.
Yeah, no, dude. Spica is you are a special kind of masochist if you own a car and maintain that.
Yeah, no.
It's worse than Kugelfischer. It's
I was gonna say,
Italian Kugelfischer.
It's literally Italian Kugelfischer.
Oh.
It is so bad. So
Yeah, what could go wrong with Bakelite fuel lines and a metering device that just gets corroded by every type of fuel ever?
Yeah,
and there's
no, like,
one person that rebuilds them.
yeah, no, as I say, it's I've had to like work with these at work and seeing that whenever I see a car, like whenever I get Alfa Romeo, the first thing I do is I scroll down to like I like open up the photo gallery,
I gotta
Control
see this.
F, photo 100, which roughly gets me to where the engine photos are. If I see Spica fuel injection, I know there's gonna be 800 photos gallery, and the next 400, the next like 600 are gonna be just fuel injection invoices that are out of order and not redacted. Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
Super.
And they will have all been in the last 5 years. Like all four, like,
With the current owner. Yeah.
Yes, every single one will matter. It's not going to be like, here's every oil change I've had in this car since I bought it new.
Right.
No, these are going to be all things I actually have to include in the listing and redact and actually deal with. So, yeah. No, it is a very cursed fuel injection system. And this guy that made this Mustang, that's going to be his next thing, is he wants to do the exact same thing with an Alfa Romeo. So
Okay.
this Alfa that Darren got is like, it's been very well maintained. It's got a huge stack of receipts, but it's also still a late 70s Alfa.
Even if you are an Alfa Romeo tech from Italy that was working in dealers when those cars were new, you still struggle with them.
No, it's a car to struggle with. That's
Yeah,
what that is.
That is not a around the country road trip car, but I appreciate people
the
still.
Mustang is, though.
Yeah, I believe
and
that.
Darren will happily have this Mustang sometime this summer. So
God, Darren has such an eclectic taste for cars.
it really is. No, he's got an incredible number of vehicles. So.
Anyway, back to stinky cars that are questionable decisions. The TVR Tuscan, which came a bit later in the 90s.
I like the Tuscan. That had iridescent paint.
It did. Almost all of them had some sort of weird chameleon paint. But, like, that's when the styling started to get really funky with, like, those drilled aluminum hole trim pieces.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
No, it's when they lost their mind, yeah. Well,
yeah.
TVR's never been a real company. But it's like when the designs started going bananas.
Yeah, it went from, like, I'm kind of a C5 to holy...
Actually, to be fair, TVR in the 80s and in the 70s, TVR's always had just bananas designs. And they've always been like a barely functioning car company.
Oh, yeah. When you're drawing that many gentleman sausages inside of the car during production,
yeah,
there are going to be oversights.
Yeah.
But this really marked a pivotal move when TVR they had some money from new investments, and their styling department was clearly finding the really good drugs.
Yeah.
So the Tuscan was the first one that really set off this craze for the next 8 years before they went like fully bankrupt, ending in the Sagaris. But this car... ground up, new chassis, new body, and a new powertrain. So previously, TVR had been using largely the Cologne V6 and the Rover V8.
Yes.
But this car was supposed to be shipped with 2 bespoke TVR engines, the Speed 8, which is a new twin-cam, race-derived 8-cylinder, and then also a budget or entry-level twin-cam ITB 3-liter straight 6.
That sounds great. What did that come from?
It was a brand new, ground up, straight 6.
They actually made that?
They did, but they contracted with an actually good engineering company.
That's actually really cool. I just assumed that it was going to be like, you're going to tell me it was a 2JZ with like
nope.
a Lotus cylinder head.
The reason why it had to be ground up, and this was developed basically at the same time as BMW's S54, they intended to have a 4-liter range topper model, and in order to do that, they needed the bores to be cavernous, just absolutely huge.
That's awesome.
The only problem is, although this engine, if you retroactively go back and look at the first-gen blueprints, is perfect, even with a really long crank, they were able to smooth out the harmonics and everything like that. Last minute, TVR unfortunately had to change a bunch of stuff to make it producible at a budget.
I was gonna say, this is not a big brand. This is a brand that's similar to Lotus.
Yeah, they don't have a budget.
Have you seen Lotus's VIN tags?
Yes.
They're literally 3D, or they're not even 3D.
They're stickers.
They're literally label maker stickers.
Yeah. No,
that have
adorable.
been clear coated over.
Yeah.
Yes. Because Emilio bought one, and I still love finding new stickers.
I bet if you buy an Emira, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Even today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going to describe this in the easiest way possible.
One second.
So, okay.
Lotus looks like, Lotus to TVR, Lotus is like Toyota. They're huge.
Oh, yeah.
They are so successful.
Yeah.
What the fuck were they thinking?
Well, that's why they're interesting, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But anyway, the Speed 6.
One second. Never mind what was TVR thing. Who the fuck invested in TVR? Who looked at TVR and said, "Yeah, I'm parking my money there"?
Drugs. What had to be a lot of drugs.
It literally had to be a money laundering operation.
Yeah, but they just decided, well, we have to run the front, so we may as well have some fun with it.
What the fuck?
But like the engine,
because TVR bankrupted an oligarch.
Oh, that was later. That was the Russian business boy that bought this after the Tuscan.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like this is the same company that bankrupted an oligarch.
This is my English Avantime moment. But that the Speed 6 engine became the North Star. It was a fantastic engine with no problems, and a couple things were changed at the last minute that just made it unreliable. So they ended up shortening the crankshaft, making the bores smaller. They changed all the gear-driven cams to a multi-timing chain.
All of it, basically.
It's not just the same engine.
Not just some. They'd completely
redesigned the engine. Yeah. Like the figure followers are problematic. You can still make one reliable, but it's like a North Star where you got to time cert all the block rules and stuff like that. It's amazing how badly they butchered the delivery of this engine, and it's still fantastic.
So bad.
And you could still get a 4-liter one in the later cars. And by the time the Sagaris came out, they put a GM V8 LS.
Yeah. You know, as one does. Yeah,
balancer on the front, and that kind of helped save the crank because the torsional load was just eating bearings higher up in the rev range. But like, it makes me want one of these even more.
Yeah,
the Speed 6.
This is a wacky vehicle.
Oh, it's tremendous. But
I love wacky vehicles like this.
I like big purple phallus.
They have always made absolutely fantastic vehicles. And my favorite era of TVR, I think more so than the 90s, because the 90s are actually good. And there's something about me
True. Yeah,
with good cars where it makes me appreciate them less, because I'm like, good, you actually did the thing. But where did you come from? What was the point in which you're like, we're going to upgrade to make this? And that's when you get to 80s TVR, and that is a very cursed place.
And honestly, if you get one that's running, it should be okay. Because
Yeah.
like both the engine platforms
It's just
they
a
were
Pinto
using,
engine.
yeah. Well, I mean, the Cologne V6. Say what you will, it had oiling issues in corners, but these never ran long enough to have cornering oil issues. Or it was the Rover V8. By that time, it was the 90s, the late 80s. That engine had been around for 30 years. They fixed it.
Well, the only issues with the Rover V8 were Lucas based. So as long as you get rid of the Lucas things, it's fine.
Yeah. Just
Like-
put a carb on it, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you put an actual carburetor on it, it's a great engine.
So yeah, like an early 90s Cerbera 5-liter, perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, no, like, and well, even they made their older cars like the 250Ms and stuff like that. But the one I'm thinking of is the 280i. That's the one that I really like. That's got a Cologne V6.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is just peak 80s. And that it's basically just a
It looks like a TR7, but slightly less bad looking.
It's a good. This is what the TR7 was supposed to be. Like
Yeah,
it's
if this
very
was the TR7,
good.
I think it would have sold better.
Yeah, that's a brilliant vehicle. And then they also had the 250M, which is great. Like, yeah, all their old cars were great. Like, TVR never made a bad-looking vehicle.
No, they especially of their era, they were
really,
so
really,
avant-garde.
really good. And like, also, like, they were able to like weather the malaise very well, because their thing was everything was light.
Yeah,
Like, doesn't
almost
matter.
a Lotus.
You can make 100 horsepower. It'd be fun if the car weighs 1,000 pounds.
How are you
Like,
doing that? Composites,
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
bass boating material.
So, I want to talk about another Toyota topic,
Do it
actually. I have a link down here.
working
It's
up.
from Deutsche Welle, so don't play the video. So copyright strike is
Thanks,
good.
Deutsche Welle.
But this was very interesting because I'd not heard this take on why they're doing a hybrid, not an electric Corolla.
Okay.
And this is actually brilliant because, they have their electric cars that they're making for the United States.
Yep. Now finally.
But they're keeping the Corolla hybrid because this is the most commonly sold car in the world. And when Toyota makes their global platforms, they'll make the basic drivetrain and running gear, and then you'll change the bodywork per market if needed. That's how they keep things cheap. And there's a lot of places that this car sells that don't have reliable electricity. So, Afghanistan, really any Stan country. Rural
Tajikistan.
Yeah, rural Tajikistan,
Whatever.
rural Africa, Azerbaijan, Russia, maybe not anymore.
They
But
don't have electricity anymore.
yeah, and they don't sell them there anymore. But I mean, at some point, Putin's gonna die, and they'll sell them again.
Yeah. Then we'll finally get the damn UAZ Patriot.
Yes, Eastern Europe, rural South America. There's a lot of places where having an electric car does not make sense. Because, like, if your car runs out of electricity in the Amazon, you're going to be eaten by something. You're not going to live. There'll be a tree that eats you or something. Everything is carnivorous in the Amazon. So you would prefer to have a hybrid over an electric.
I would just assume have a diesel at that point.
Yes, but if you were buying a Corolla, you'd want the hybrid over the electric. And that's actually why they're doing that. It's actually really pragmatic. I never thought of that. And that's what this is talking about. It's like, yeah, an electric's great, but like they'll get around to it. But what they're going to concentrate on is having the best possible battery, having the best possible electric everything, while still having that the ICE engine like there.
No, Toyota, to their credit, has nailed mild hybrids.
Oh yeah, and they keep expanding on it, and so the new Corolla, they have modern battery technology, so you can literally just remove the engine and still have a perfectly feasible EV.
Yep.
But they keep that gas engine there, so you don't have range anxiety, and so you won't get kidnapped and taken away by Boko Haram, and that's great. I think that's actually really brilliant, and that's something that I think a lot of people, when they say, "Oh, Toyota isn't doing enough, Toyota's stuck in their time," they aren't really thinking about just how much of a juggernaut Toyota is in the car world, and the fact that, like, yeah, cool, enjoy your Tesla here, where the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to have to walk past a cow to get to your local gas station to get a tow truck that's way too expensive, where they might haze you a little. But, like, if your shit breaks down in, like, rural Mali, you are going to die. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not a thing near you. There's no water near you. Again, everything is carnivorous, and you're going to die. So yeah, having something where you can just put a spot of gas into it and make it a couple more miles until you actually make it somewhere to like an oasis or something. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Jesus Christ. No, I mean, it's not just other markets, and I mean, Toyota is a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
They follow sales. They do their research, and it's not just Mali or Bali, whatever the hell it is. Like, even in the first world, not even just here, where they sell Toyota products, the vast majority of people buying a cheaper new car don't have a single-family home, and plugging in is a pain in the ass.
It's a huge pain in the ass, yeah. And
so that's why, like, the mild hybrid kind of makes sense for those people because they still live in the city, so they will benefit from electrification, but they just have no interest in plugging this thing in, and we're not quite there getting a full electric vehicle with a big enough battery cheap enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they still have to hit their price points. We talked about this with the Celica.
There's also another thing here is like what I was talking about is the fact that most people that fault Toyota for just doing mild hybrids, they don't think about the fact that other places in the world and other people have a different existence than themselves. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the luxury of being able to plug in your shit. Yeah. Sometimes you live in Missouri where plugging in your shit will just result in some dickhead in a truck unplugging your car and driving away because he's a dick.
Small dick.
Yeah, but that's, the thing that you're not going to have with the mild hybrid Corolla. So,
I am actually
brilliant. I'm here for it.
The whole, I get it, and I'm not going to fault anyone for buying a mild hybrid, a regular combustion vehicle, electric, whatever. Working right now, the GLS, my parents' big Mercedes thing, well, who cares? It's still having air suspension issues. I drove that thing for like 5 days with the pothole issue, fixed everything. My mother took it on an airport run, suspension collapsed. Again, it's all brand new. I'm like, trade this thing in. So like, well, they don't need a vehicle just to pull the boat because we can use my car. But they're still those people. We're like, well, we're going to get something that can pull the boat. But I'm like, all right, you have the luxury right now where you have charging infrastructure in your home garage.
Yes.
It makes no sense to not get a mild or a plug-in hybrid or an electric vehicle. But I started doing some research with Scott the other day, our oldest patron. Mm-hmm. We didn't come up with much. It's like the XC90 T8, that's a plug-in, has a good enough towing capacity to handle that. Other than that, you're limited to like really crappy
what I would actually look at?
What?
Australian towing capacity.
Oh, I have been.
And so the reason I say that is American towing capacity versus Australian towing capacity, they have different standards.
European too.
Yeah, but I mean specifically Australian. So for instance, a Subaru Crosstrek is rated for 1,500 pounds of towing capacity in the United States.
Such a joke.
A Subaru Impreza is rated for none.
Yep.
In Australia, a Subaru Impreza is rated for 500 kilograms.
Okay.
And a Subaru Crosstrek is rated for 500 kilograms.
Okay.
So it is, for a fact that Subaru did not just put shittier brakes onto their car.
Correct.
Yeah, no, they have different testing parameters.
Right.
So what I was to say was, look at, if there's a car where you're like, this is strange, just can't tow.
Right.
Look at what the Australian version of that vehicle is rated for, and see what that can tow for. And
I just look at the Westfalia site because they always have their tow bars listed, and they always have a towing capacity for those cars.
That is true, but that's only for vehicles that have Westfalia.
Which is everything I buy has a Westfalia hitch available.
But yeah, so that's something I learned back like when I was selling Subarus. That somebody
crazy, isn't it?
Wanted an Impreza sedan, but wanted towing capacity, and I'm like not going to lose a sale over this. I'm like, this seems stupid to me that there isn't a towing rating for this vehicle.
Model S has no official towing capacity. It's a Model X.
No, it'll tow everything. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's baloney, but that's a good point. Look at other markets where that exact vehicle...
And also, that exact vehicle where they're going to have similar crash test ratings. Australia, I say, because they have very, very, very similar crash test ratings, actually stricter crash test ratings than us, because they actually implemented catch latch releases for child seats. They implemented those 4 years before we did. No, 6 years before we did, because they implemented them in 1995. They were put into law for the 1995 model year in 1994, but we ended up putting it into law in 2001 because all of our cars were just coming over with the Australian latch mechanism.
Right.
And we're like, wow, this is actually pretty great.
So
why
handy.
isn't this mandated? And so, yeah, it was actually the Australian market that led that. So I would actually consider Australian market stuff. If you see something that's like, ooh, you know what? Australia says I can tow this much. You can probably tow it in America.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean,
100%.
Australia and the UK and stuff like that, like those trailers by law are braked on their own, and not all trailers are in this country. So there are some differences, and we tend to tow a lot faster here. But still, if it says the car will do it, you should be okay.
And also, like with the Impreza thing and the Crosstrek, Subaru literally just did not tow rate the Impreza. They did not have the NHTSA do the rating for it.
Right.
So it would push people into the Crosstrek. It's a very cursed thing that they did. Because every Crosstrek sale would mean that they could sell more STIs at that point in time.
Well, I have a hard time hitting on that, I guess. But anyway, yes.
Yes.
To your
very,
point,
very,
absolutely.
It's a dumb thing, but yes.
Oh, hello. Oh, God. Hi, Shane.
Oh. Hey, Shane.
I just looked at Mexico and then I read backward. I'm like, who the? Oh, that's Shane. Got it.
New Mexico's a good place.
Yeah, he just bought a FRS.
Very good.
Done up in, I forget what SCCA standard, but it's
Oh,
cool.
very cool. That's awesome.
And it has not had an oil pump failure yet.
So, what was I going to say?
Oh, shoot. Me next. Oh, my God, yes.
Yes, you tell me about this.
The Changli. We talked about this a long time
Changli
ago.
Freeman, yes.
Yep. So apparently this not only is still very much in use by the Autopian, who now owns it, even though it was originally purchased by Jalopnik.
It was registered.
Torchinsky, I think, bought
Jason
it.
Torchinsky.
Yep. He has had it on his property for the last 2 years and has been using it very regularly to do, like, off-road UTV tasks. He says it's been very reliable. However...
Oh, my God, look at those batteries.
Those are lead-acid batteries, and they look scuffed. I mean, they look like somebody was in a tanning booth and they forgot to turn the timer off.
Those have had a
boy.
life. I think it's time to replace those lead-acid batteries.
And I just look how tiny the wires are. I'm just completely blown away. But
How is this not on fire? Like, what?
I don't know, but I'm so happy that this. And like, oh God, I love that he just parks it outside too. I have to click on a video, unfortunately, to get it, but like it's disgusting. Like this thing has got just tree filth all over it.
I love
the
that
little
so
bull bar
much.
in the front's all bent up.
That's so funny. I love that.
Proof that this $1,000 brand new car from AliExpress is still going 2 years later. But the $300 batteries you had to buy, maybe not the best.
You know, now I want to like turn this into a great 18650 project.
I know.
Like, this should go on the
Lithium iron phosphate is like the off-the-shelf batteries are so similar in voltage and amperage
yeah.
requirements.
Just this needs to go on the 18650 project
or
Reddit.
21700s.
No, there's a Reddit called the
Okay.
Great 18650 Project, where they just make shit out of like spare 18650s they find like in discarded electronics.
I should give those away to people. I have so many.
Yeah, no, seriously, see what like fun things your friends can come up with.
My whole barrier to that is I looked into it a couple of years ago because I'm like, I would love to do that. The whole plastic like things to make the packs really cheap. The problem is you need one of those spot welding guns to do it. Because the actual tabs that connect the cells together have to be spot welded. They can't be soldered because it puts too much heat into the cell.
Just get a spot welding gun.
Oh, they're really not cheap.
Ooh, actually, fun fact, I found one on AliExpress for $100.
Oh my God.
I'm sure it will not be problematic.
What could go wrong using electricity to weld electricity stuff?
Yeah, it's like 110 volt as well. So that seems legit.
110 with quotation hands
Yeah.
and an asterisk. But I'm very happy that the Changli is still going.
That's still in existence.
He is going to put batteries in it for the record. So
That is an incredible vehicle.
we'll follow up as soon as I hear more on the Changli.
I love that. I'm very happy to hear about that. So speaking of making things and great projects,
Yes.
in one of my group chats I have, we were talking about fake Mugen parts. And I have a proposition for the Oval Bore channel.
Okay.
Trig owns a lathe, and my friend TJ owns a lathe, and my other friend Joel owns a lathe. And I was thinking what we could do, I have a Mugen duraluminum shift knob, an actual one. Have all three of them take measurements of it, make their own knockoffs, anodize them and everything, and then present all four at a car show and have the public judge them and figure out which one's real.
That would be pretty cool.
I think that would be pretty great. That would be a really, really good video for Oval Bore, is have like go out to like each of their garages while they're lathing them, show their process that they did, the slightly different processes. Because like there's so many knockoffs of the Mugen duraluminum knob.
More than the SSQV even.
Oh, it's insane. And like Mugen people being the mentally ill people that they are,
yeah.
They like go as far as to like actually measure the camphor angle or the chamfer angle on the little ribs on the side of it. Like
if the knockoffs are that good where you have to get that nitpicky.
Yeah, oof. It's really funny. And like they look at like the exact color of the anodizing on them, like in a place where the sun doesn't hit it, because like the factory one,
they've got an
like,
original paint sample or an anodizing sample, and
the original anodizing ones, they have notoriously terrible anodizing. So actually, one of the things is if you see one that sits out in the sun for like 2 years and it doesn't change color, that's how you know it's not real. It's supposed to like fade and look like shit because it was like bad 1990s anodizing.
It's early 2000s, not for rock climbing carabiner.
It's like that. It's like that. It's exactly like that. So, I think that'd actually be really fun to do and like make that into like some content for the channel.
I would follow those people around.
Right, perfect. I'm into that. I will let them know as soon as we're done recording then.
I'm free on weeknights. I'll come
brilliant.
down.
Yes, I'm sure they are as well. So, well, anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and for patrons, you will be having your shirts soon. And thank me for being able to drink these old styles, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.